From Creamer Media in Johannesburg, this is the Real Economy Report. The state-owned defence group Denel is financially afloat again. Keith Campbell reports.
Denel's turnaround strategy, which started in 2005, has finally borne fruit, with the group, in the financial year ending March 2011, making its first profit since 2001. Denel Group CEO Talib Sadik.
We are very pleased with the profits that we've made of 111 million rand. It's driven by a number of issues, one of it being our industrial clusters that we operate in, where for the second consecutive year, our defense, security and certification and training clusters are profitable. On a normalized basis, they had made a profit of 130 million rand. Then we've had our surplus of our Denel pension fund of 460 million rand, which had a positive impact on our results, but then on a negative side, we had some legacy contracts that we had to make provisions for, and that was an issue for us. From a cash flow perspective, it's for the first time that we've generated healthy cash of 178 million rand. Last year we had utilized 344 million rand, and at the time when we embarked on our turnaround strategy, we had utilized 1.1 billion rand in our operations. So for us, the cash, which is a real number, is a significant improvement when one looks at our past. At the end of March, our order pipeline was sitting at 44 billion rand. At the end of June, it declined to 40 billion rand, and that decline was due to us closing orders worth 5 billion rand, including our largest export order from the time we've completed the year end to today as we release our results. And our order book are in attractive markets, high growth markets, markets that we have been busy with, and in some of those opportunities we have been involved in development products, and now we are looking at getting the production orders contracted for.
South Africa's oldest radio telescope, the 26-metre diameter dish at Hartbeespoort, celebrated its 50th anniversary on July 1st. Keith Campbell was there.
The 26-metre dish was originally built in only a few months and for America's National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. Dr. George Nicholson, emeritus astronomer and former director of the Hartbeespoort Radio Astronomy Observatory, explains why.
The 26-metre radio telescope was built in 1961. It was built as one of 3 similar facilities around the world, spaced out roughly at intervals of 120 degrees longitude, to track American deep space probes that were sent to the moon, the planets and interplanetary space to investigate those environments. Construction began in 1961. In fact, the infrastructure was started in December 1960, working right through the builders' holidays. The foundations for the antenna were actually poured on Christmas Day 1960. It took roughly 3 months to complete construction of the antenna structure, and a further 3 months to install all the related electronic equipment, receivers, etc. The reason for doing it so quickly was it was the last of 3 stations that were being built by NASA. The other 2 stations had already been constructed in California and in Australia, and the first launch was going to be around the 23rd of August 1961. So the antenna and equipment had to be completed by the 1st of July to allow for integration tests with the whole tracking network and ensure that everything was up to standard for the first launch.
Today, the 26-metre dish is an internationally respected radio telescope. It was recommissioned last year after repairs following a main bearing failure. Current acting managing director of the Hartbeespoort Radio Astronomy Observatory, Dr. Mike Gaylord, tells us of recent developments at the observatory.
One of the big developments has been fibre optic cables coming into South Africa around our east and west coastlines, giving very wide bandwidth for telecommunications. And we've been using this to link our telescope live in real time at up to a gigabit per second with telescopes on other continents. And what this has done, it's not just a technical capability. What it's done is it's let us do targets of opportunity with almost no warning. EVRBI, where we link these regularly, and so the workload on the antenna behind me has actually been a great deal higher for this international collaborative work than it was before we had the bearing failure. In addition, there are interesting new developments on the space geodesy side, which, if you like, is applied radio astronomy and its various spin-offs. And what you'll see behind the radio telescope behind me is a big white shed, it looks like, which is actually a new observatory. And inside it is a 1-meter optical telescope donated by France. And we're going to turn this into a lunar and satellite laser ranger to supplement the NASA one, which has been operating here since 2000. And once we've commissioned it, the idea is we would like to move it to a really good optical site in the Karoo somewhere, possibly at the Clairefontaine base station that has been developed for the CAT project.
Other news making headlines this week. The National Housing Finance Corporation will put up 39 million rand for a Soweto Affordable Homes initiative. And government confirms the inclusion of price competition in the first renewables round. The National Housing Finance Corporation has agreed to provide affordable homes builder RBA Holdings with financing totaling 39 million rand for the construction of 152 housing units in Protea Glen, Soweto.
About 2 years ago we launched the first of our rental units here in Protea Glen to the south of Soweto. We've now got 176 units completed, which have been fully tenanted for since the last 6 months about. On the back of this first initiative of ours, we've now got a further facility approved through the National Housing Finance Corporation, who financed this one, the first phase as well, and we will commence with construction on the second units of 152 units in a month from now.
The South African government has confirmed that price competition will feature in the procurement process for the first round of renewable energy projects, with the 2009 renewable energy feed-in tariffs to be used as a ceiling price against which potential developers should tender their offers.
With the view of 2009 prices, we're saying that is going to be a ceiling. So if they want to bid on the 2009 prices, by all means, because it's already covered in the tariff. So we are of the view that we still are going to be able to achieve the criteria that we want, still at possibly lower prices than 2009. In fact, one of the parliamentarians actually came to us in the department and indicated that the industry is of the view that we can bid at a lower prices than the 2009 prices. Now the process forward. The document is ready, however, Minister needs to make a determination in terms of the Section 34 of the Electricity Regulation Act. Minister has done that. We are now awaiting for the regulator to come back to us, because in terms of that those regulations, we need to consult with NERSA. So we are waiting for NERSA to come back to us, and as soon as they come back to us, we are going to release a document that will include price as a criteria for bidding.
That's Creamer Media's Real Economy Report. Join us again next week for more news and insight into South Africa's real economy.